In this tutorial series, we're going to look at how to use KMyMoney. KMyMoney is personal finance software that will help you keep track of your money. KMyMoney is best suited for home users who have one or more jobs, some investments, and/or rental income. If you have a full-on business, you may be able to use KMyMoney, but if you have to account for multiple client performance and income, and you have a lot of invoicing to keep track of, you may want to consider using GNU Cash for that. We can download KMyMoney from kmymmoney.org/download.html. And we see KMyMoney is cross-platform, meaning it works on Linux, Windows, and a Mac. I'm using a Windows computer, so this Windows section is what I'll be looking at. We see MSVC-based builds based on stable and master branch can be downloaded from KDE's CI/CD pipeline. There's a separate page with the instructions. Let's open up that page in a new tab. We want the stable version, and they're telling us to visit the download page showing the stable versions. I'll open that in a new tab. And going back to this page, they're telling us to click on the link for the installer named KMyMoney-51 with some numbers, Windows-CL-MSVC 2019-86_64.exe. Going back to our downloads page, we see that version right here. So I'll click on this to download it and click Save. Now you'll want to click and install that. I've already done that. When you first open up KMyMoney, you will see a screen similar to this. You may see the tip of the day. If you don't see the tip of the day and you want to see it, click on Help, Show Tip of the Day. I'm going to uncheck the Show Tips on Startup and close this. Now you may or may not see another box to start a new KMyMoney file. If you don't see the box yet, like me, we can get that by going to File, New. And now it opens up the pop-up for us to start a new KMyMoney file. If your box is a little small for some reason, you can hover on one of these corners and then click and drag to make it larger or smaller. Over on the left, we see Personal Data, Select Currency, Select Accounts, and Finish. Those are the things we're going to go through right now. Let's start by adding a name. To make sure no one confuses this with any real data, I'm going to use the name Jack, as in Jack Benny. He was a comedian from long ago who made a career out of being very tight with his money. We don't have to fill out any of this information to use KMyMoney. It's not required, so I will click Next. Now it's asking us what currency we want to use. I am in the US, so I want to use the US dollar, which is already selected. I will click Next. Now it's asking us to add an account. I can uncheck this checkbox here and skip this step, but I want to add some data here to show you what information they're looking for. The first thing they're asking me for is the name of the account. This is going to be something like a checking account, so I will call this checking account. Then it's asking us for the account number. If we want KMyMoney to get information directly from our bank, we can add an account number and a routing number, and KMyMoney can interact with your bank right from here and get that information. Since this is all fictitious data, it won't work in this case, so I will leave the account number blank. An opening date of 1/1/24 is good in this case, but if you're starting your own, you are probably going to want to find your most recent bank statement and use that date as your starting point. Opening balance, again for our case, 0 or blank is fine. Again, you'll want to review your most recent bank statement and use that ending balance from your bank statement as the opening balance here. If this doesn't make sense to you now, that's okay. This will all start making sense to you once we start entering some data. Next is the name of the institution. They're just asking for the name of the bank. I'm going to use the name Bailey Savings and Loan. And yes, I did get that from the movie It's a Wonderful Life. I'll have nothing for the routing number, so I'll click Next. Now it's asking me for some accounts. I'm going to grab one of these corners again and show you we can make this bigger or smaller by clicking and dragging on the corners. KMyMoney has already selected United States for me, and that's what I want to use. I'm going to click on the base blank, and it shows me two accounts, expense and income. When I click on base simple, we see a few more details under expense and income. These accounts are categories we're likely to spend money on. When we buy clothing, we'll add that expense under clothing. When we buy groceries, we'll put that under food. So these are some accounts that KMyMoney wants to set us up with to get started. It's likely we'll add our own later on, but it's nice to have some to start with. Looking at the base detail, KMyMoney is going to add in some sub-accounts. Like under food, we have the choice of dining out and groceries. Clicking on house, we see some accounts specific for housing. Jack will start as a renter, but we'll want to add in the housing accounts just in case Jack does buy a house later on. So the accounts we want are base detail, and now I'm going to hold down Control and click House and Pets. So we'll use just those three groups of accounts to get started. I'm going to click Next. I am not going to check the Configure Preferences after finishing this wizard. I'm just going to click Finish. If we look in the background, we can see that KMyMoney has updated the home screen with the checking account that we just added. In the pop-up, KMyMoney is asking me how we want to store our KMyMoney files. There's a drop-down here showing XML. It also has SQL. SQL will allow passwords, but it can be a little tricky to set up, especially for non-technical users. If anyone watching has an easy way to set up SQL, leave me a note in the comments and I will check it out. And maybe even create a video tutorial on how to set up KMyMoney with SQL. For now, we're going to use XML, the one that does not allow passwords, and then I'll click OK. KMyMoney is now asking us where do we want to store this KMyMoney file. I've already set up a folder on my desktop, so I'm going to click on Desktop, and then there's KMyMoney. And I will give this file the name KMyMoney _ video-01 and click Save. We see the new name we just gave it in the upper left corner, KMyMoney _ video-01.KMyMoney. So there's no money in Jack's checking account. Let's change that now. I'm going to click on Checking Account. We have just switched from Home to Ledger. So we're back here at the home screen, which has the checking account. When I clicked on checking account, it takes us to the ledgers. Now, the ledgers shows us all of the accounts that we have that we just added in. If we click up here, remember there's food we talked about earlier, clothing. When I look at those, nothing in those accounts yet. Let's go back to checking account. We're going to add a new transaction. We can make this a deposit, transfer, or withdrawal. We want a deposit. The deposit is going to be from the company Jack works for. That company name will be Vandelay Industries. And yes, I did get that from Seinfeld. I'm going to press Tab to go to the next field, not Enter. If I press Enter, it's going to think we're done with this transaction and add it up here to the ledger. So pressing Tab, KMyMoney is asking us, do we want to add Vandelay Industries as a payer-receiver? Yes, we do. And now for the category. We got categories and ledgers. The category is going to have the same name as our ledger or accounts. So what category do we want to put this under? A job. We've got income, job, but we don't have Vandalay Industries here yet. I want to add that in. To do that, I'm going to clear that out and add in Vandalay Industries and press Tab again. KMyMoney is telling us that Vandalay Industries does not currently exist. Do we want to create it? Yes, I do want to create it. We can add notes about Vandalay Industries. I'm not going to here. I'm going to change to the Hierarchy tab, and I want it to go right under Job. So it'll say Income, Job, Vandalay Industries. If I click this drop down, we see bonus and wages. So Vandalay will show right in here. Clicking OK. We now see it's changed to Job, Vandalay Industries. Going down to tags, we'll come back and talk about tags in another video. For the memo, I'll type salary. Number, that's usually like a check number. We don't have one here. The date, 1/1/2024. That's good for us because Jack is starting off on 1/1/2024 with nothing. We're going to add in his paycheck of $1,000. And he'll get that twice a month on the 1st and the 15th. The last part, not reconciled. We'll talk about reconciling in a future video. I can click enter or just press enter on the keyboard. And there is our first journal entry or transaction, Vandalay Industries. He now has a deposit of $1,000. If we go to the home screen, we see Jack now has $1,000 in his checking account. Now, the last thing I'm going to mention here is that KMyMoney is a double entry bookkeeping system, meaning there are always 2 entries for a transaction or journal entry. Let's go back into checking. So there's 1 entry here for checking account. The other is going to be for Vandalay Industries. Let's check our ledger here and go under Income, Vandalay Industries. And there's the $1,000 there. So this $1,000 would be the credit. And then when we go to the checking account, it would be the debit of the $1,000. Here they're calling it deposit because they want to keep the terms easy so everyone can understand. Now, we don't really need to know that, but the accountants will be interested in that. For us, we care that there's $1,000 in Jack's checking account, and that's what's important because now he can spend some money. I'm going to save this file, and in the next video, we're going to look at customizing the fonts for KMyMoney.